Well, I'm joined on this sponsors interview video by Darren Cremins, who's Senior Sales Director for Scala in the UK and Ireland, just to talk around some of the innovations and some of the processes and structures around the retail media networks that we're seeing out there at the minute. Darren, if I can start just by tapping into your brain and experience around some of the buzz that's out there. There's quite a lot of buzz at the minute around retail media networks. How do you see that paying out?
Yeah, hi Phil. Yeah, and it's a good question to start off with. I mean, numerous retailers are discovering a fresh source of income from retail media networks. It's becoming vital, really, for their profitability. Financial benefit is really big. We've seen in 2023 the annual revenue for retail media networks is expected to exceed $50 billion and exceed 100 billion globally. So yeah, there's big money to be had there. Sort of in contrast to the slim profit margins that they're seeing, obviously from grocery and everyday goods, retail media margins can reach above 80%, and with a projected annual growth of 25% for the foreseeable future, it becomes clear that why retail media networks has got such a buzz and serves an important revenue stream within the retail ecosystem.
And in terms of guiding brands and retailers through the different opportunities and challenges, what are some of the key factors that network providers should be able to guide those clients through?
Yeah. As a leading sort of signage and solutions provider like ourselves, we look to guide major retail brands to optimize their network. And I think the key consideration is really going to be the need to determine an ideal placement for in-store media experiences, just to maximize the returns. So that'll be the first point. And then I think you go on to kind of providing strategy guidance, insights on successful retail executions. And then we look to prepare an engaged creative strategy. So balancing that out really between brand, audience, engagement messaging, that sort of thing. Then we look to produce automated media templates. So you're not having to recreate the wheel every time. So the beauty of digital is that you can do that. So recreate those templates for reuse of existing media assets. And then the engagement with retailer and brand creative agencies, just to ensure there's a consistent media content strategy across there as well.
Yeah. And what about this, the thing that we read a lot of at the minute about sort of smart digital signage that Scala and Stratacache are offering? What are the advanced opportunities there?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people doing digital signage and lots of people are trying to move into this retail media space. So, our signage goes a step further by incorporating kind of cutting edge capabilities. So we utilize them in a combination of ways. Obviously, you've got the digital displays that we all know and love, AI, sensor systems, and just being able to respond to shoppers in real time. So we deliver highly personalized in-store experiences now, rather than just putting content on screens, which has been happening for many, many years, and kind of hoping that it gets that engagement. So much like the online and e-commerce platforms where they tailor content to their website visitors, we can do the same approach in the in-store environment. So we'll look at, as we said, sensors, wireless, computer vision when we're allowed to. There's a lot of talk around camera technology whether it's been going to be able to be used in all areas just from GDPR and stuff like that. But being able to track the engagement and conversion, deploy of AI to target shoppers, build the audience profile data with all that information that we've got, and then evaluate and optimize those based in different environments, whether they're going to be sold to dedicated selling or programmatic platforms from a media spend point of view. And then through loyalty programs, we can plug into those third-party loyalty programs and track those individuals based upon them opting in. So that's always an essential part of it. And then finally, there's different retail media networks out there. So you've got in-store, which obviously is our primary focus, online, and then you've got mobile, and then finally you've got streaming. So when you're advertising on people like Netflix and Amazon, so we can take our information, those reports, and then feed that data into somewhere like the streaming services so they can maximize it as well.
I mean, that is some seriously in-depth and integrated techniques that you've talked us through there, none of which comes without a price tag, which is obviously a perceived barrier for retailers. How do you think, in terms of solid retail media network, you can tackle that with retail and brand clients?
Yeah, and it's a question that we're getting more and more common. These brands want to do an in-store retail media network, but are finding this entry to the cost for that is a barrier. Now we'd look at that from a high level and provide sort of really good walkthrough solutions and options and opportunities there. So as a group, Stratacash will look at capital financing, at those options for the entire rollout of the project. So it removes that barrier down. There'll be conversations around that. We're happy to talk to retailers about that in-store side of things. We've done it a lot in the US, and we're bringing that capability over to Europe and the UK. And then if they are cash rich, or they're happy to spin up their own networks, we're happy to have those conversations about brand partnerships to get networks up and running, best practices for self-funding, all those types of good things. So yeah, we're completely open to that. But I'd like to, from our point of view, if a retailer's pushing it to one side from a financing point of view, there's definitely options out there.
That's great. And I guess the other thing to bear in mind as well is that it's with a lot of your clients, it won't just be one point of contact. There's a lot of stakeholders within those retailer organizations that get involved in the rollout of these networks. So just finally, looking at that side, IT, operations, what are some of the additional factors that have come into play when getting internal teams on the client side working together for a successful network?
Yeah, I mean, and like I say, it's a big difference from online, where people are, traditionally some people have done more online retail media networks than in-store. But from an in-store point of view, it comes initially to kind of the initial setup and the project management things, simple things, power, power, data, network infrastructure, and then obviously the deployment of the technology, the screens, the sensors, et cetera, et cetera. So it's that whole piece initially. And then day two, we need to look at field service and support teams, so making sure that the right people are in the right place across the regions, to make sure that we can get same day, next day fix based upon the requirements out there. And then internally, obviously, they need to work with the business for a 24/7 media network operation. So the management of that, the reporting, provide dedicated retail specific ad platforms. So there are a number of ad platforms out there, so we can plug into all of those. We're talking to numbers at the moment where we're doing API integration into some of those platforms as we go. And then looking at surplus inventory once the network's deployed, because the ability to fill up these slots, so to speak, inside the network are going to be so much. And then you have the programmatic exchange as well. So we look at that. And then finally, just full assistance for internal sales training and execution of the retail media networks as well. So we're there to support the customer who owns that network and get the most out of it. So I think we've incorporated these services. We really help streamline the operations and ensure the success and turn it into a really good revenue opportunity for the retailers and their retail media network space.
Well, Darren, I've really enjoyed chatting with you today and looking at the development that Scala and Stratacash have had within their business, serving the UK, Irish, and of course global retail industry. So thanks for joining us today and sharing some of your experience. We'll catch up with you soon.
Perfect. Thanks for having us, Phil. Cheers. Take care.